Hey, want to learn a great, really harmonically interesting ending you can stick on a lot of different tunes? Well, stick around. I'm going to show you how. Hi gang, Scott Houston here. All I'm going to teach you in this video is a really nice ending you can use. When you play in the style that we teach, reading from lead sheets typically, quite often it's your job as a professional piano player, or soon-to-be professional piano player, or total hack piano player, as the case for me in most cases. You need to know some intros and some endings to throw on the tunes, to either get in or get out of a tune. Well, here's a good ending I can teach you, all right? Now, before I can teach it to you, I got to give you just a smidge of truisms about the music that we tend to play, about Western music, and then just a smidge of music theory, but that's kind of good to learn that stuff too. So check this out. This is an interesting thing, but most tunes, and you may or may not have ever had this kind of be obvious to you or not, tunes tend to end on whatever, it's called the one chord. They end on the chord the key of the tune is in. So if you're playing a tune in the key of C, and you don't even need to worry about that, but what that means is probably the last chord of the tune is going to be a C chord, right? And I can give you a bunch of examples, Jingle Bells, right? You're getting ready to end. Aha! So it ends. It's like comes back home to that root chord, or that whatever the one chord. Now they call that a one because you just count up the scale steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that's a one chord. Well, a 5 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is a G chord in the key of C, right? So this is the other interesting thing. Almost every tune, not every. I mean, I'm painting a broad brushstroke, but you'd be stunned the number of times this will be the case. In a huge number of tunes, not only is the last chord a 1, right, but the chord before it is a 5. So almost all tunes end in a 5, then they go down to the 1. So in the case of in the key of C, it would be from a G chord down to a C chord. This sounds so obvious when it's hard to talk about this, and to your ear, it's very obvious. So, for example, tunes want to end up going like this. That's playing a G7 down to a C is what I was doing. G down to C. And it just happens over and over. There's that Jingle Bells. Or, it's another Christmas carol, like, I don't know, Silent Night. There you go. I mean, it just happens over and over and over, okay? So just take it as a given that a bunch of tunes that you're going to end up playing in all these different styles, the last two chords of the tune are going to be a 5 down to a 1, and that just depends on what key you're in as to what those, literal chords will be. Now, another truism is that a ton of time, not only are the last two chord symbols from 5 to 1, the last note in the melody is a 1. It's that root note, right? In both those cases, it worked too. Watch. Jingle Bells, I went, there it is. Melody note's on a C. And so the C is the one chord, and the melody note is on that root. See? The same with Silent Night. I mean, it just works like that a ton, all right? So, if you find a tune that's the case, which you'll find a ton of them, here's where we do the ending, okay? And I'm sorry, this may sound a little technical, but it's once you get the hang of this, it's not that tough. So here we go. What you do to play this ending, it'll sound like this. And it'll sound like this. It's really a beautiful way to end a tune. All right? Here's what I did. Instead of the last two chords being a 5 to 1, a G to C in this case, 5, I do like this. 5, 5, and then instead of going to the 1, here's the important part. So instead of going down to the 1, I'm going to go up a half step. Right? So we go. And then the chord you're going to play is whatever a half step higher than that 5 is. Now, I've got it in the wrong inversion. Let me play it up here and it'll sound better. Because the point is, the last melody note will be a note in this chord, so it sounds nice. Here, let me do this up an octave, and it'll make more sense. It'll sound better to your ears. It's kind of muddled where I am right now, and my hands are hitting each other. Let me try this up one octave, okay? So here we go. We'll go. So now we normally go back down and just finish it, right? So we're going to go. But in this case, we're now going to do our new secret ending trick, which is to take whatever chord you're on, go up a half step from the 5. So from a G, it'd be to a G sharp, and then go up a half step from the final chord, and then finally drop down to that final chord and bring it home. So without me talking, it would sound like this. You can add some more chord tones in your right hand and it really gets pretty. So we have, I'm making that a major 7 is what I'm doing. It's really a pretty sound, and it's pretty deep, deep sounding from a harmonic standpoint. Let me do one in a different key so it'll hopefully lock this in, then we'll be done. So let's try one, let's do one in F. So we're in that key. Let's do, let's like Amazing Grace. There's a simple melody everyone will know. So Amazing Grace goes at the end. Right, that's how it ends. So again, we're ending on the 1, which is an F chord. And in F, the 1 is F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 is a C. So in this case, the last 2 chords in the tune are from a C or a C7 down to an F, and the last melody note is an F. Right, there we are. F chord, F note. So this one qualifies for my ending trick that I'm teaching you, okay? So now here's what we're going to do. We'll play. And instead of going back home to 1 and finishing, we're going to add these 2 chords. Go up a half step from the 5 chord, which is a C sharp. And then we're going to go up a half step from the final root chord. And then we'll finally bring it home down to the root chord. Now when I add some more tones in my right hand and add some more color and some more depth, it'll sound like this. Here comes the substitution chord. Okay. Now all I did was that, I added some more tones. On the first one, I made it a major 7th instead of just the major chord by itself. And, as you advance a little bit, you can get into that if you want. But the real trick to this is instead of just ending on a 5 to a 1, stop on that 5, go up a half step, then go down to a half step above the final 1 chord, and then finally drop down and bring it home to the 1. Just a couple chords you can substitute on any of these tunes, and it really sounds great and very deep. Hope I didn't blow you out of the water with that one. If I did, just watch it a few times and you can figure it out, or ask me a question in the comments if you want, and I'll try to get you straightened out. As always, hope that's just another little trick you can throw in your bag. Have fun playing piano, gang.